In this video, I'm going to give you guys boots on the ground, what we're actually seeing right in the market. When you go read market stats and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to give you 4 stories, 2 from sellers and 2 from buyers. Either we have recently worked with or are currently working with, to let you guys know boots on the ground, what's actually happening out there in the San Diego real estate market. And all these stories are different areas, different price points. So you guys could see what it's actually like in different areas and what potentially, if you're thinking about buying or selling, you have a better idea what's going on out there in the real estate market. So first story is hopping into some recent sellers that we helped over in San Marcos. The area is called San Alejo Hills. Now, we put it on the market a few months back and the price point was $1.4 million. Now, right at that time, the interest rates had started going up. The market was softening a little bit, but we did have a huge advantage being, as you guys know, there's not a ton of homes on the market. So when we did come on the market, we were basically the only home in that neighborhood in that price point. So anybody looking San Alejo Hills was looking at this property. And so here's what happened. Our clients already were in escrow on another property, so they need to get this home sold quickly. We hopped in there, helped them get it ready, get it all dialed in, and put it on the market first weekend. So when we were thinking about 2022, that first weekend was huge. That's when you got everybody in there. That is when the magic happened. I'm gonna let you know, things are a little bit different right now. So first weekend, we have our open houses. We're doing all our marketing. We're doing all our YouTube ads and Facebook ads and all that kind of stuff to get the max amount of people that we can in there. Come the end of the weekend, we did have a bunch of showings. We did have a nice open house. We ended up only getting 1 offer. And compare that to last year, we put a home on Wednesday or Thursday, let it go through the weekend, do our open houses, let all the showings happen, get all the offers in, and review the offers Monday, have that thing in escrow by like Tuesday. This time, it was a little bit different. Like I said, we got 1 offer in and it was well below the list price. So our clients decided to counter back at a price they were comfortable with. Long story short, we did not end up coming to terms with that offer. So at this point, our clients are a little bit worried because obviously it didn't sell that first weekend. They're used to all the stories. Maybe they had friends and stuff that had sold recently and it was just like a frenzy. Well, like I said, things have changed a little bit. While there's still a lot of buyers out there, the frenziedness of the 2022 market and earlier in this year is not what we're seeing right now. So coming into after that first weekend, we ended up doing a broker caravan on Wednesday and left it open for showings, which is super important right now. Not only pricing, which is always important, but being available to let your house be seen as much as possible. Obviously, it's difficult if you got kids, you got family, you got pets, all that kind of stuff, which our clients did have. But since they were so willing and able and motivated to sell their home, they were able to get a lot of showings in there at kind of not the drop of a hat. We need a little bit of notice, but as many people as we could get in there. So coming into that second weekend, or that second week rather, we did have some additional showings, some second showings. So it's looking pretty good. We ended up getting 1 more offer and it was right at list price. So it did get that $1.4 million mark that our clients were looking for. And we were able to have a nice clean escrow. Everything was pretty quick. And one thing that we did get for our clients was a rent back. So there was a little bit of overlap, or if they needed it, a little bit of overlap from when they bought their house that they were moving to when they sold this house in years past. In the past few years, those where you get, it's called a rent back, those would be free, or those would be negotiated to be free. So where the seller wasn't paying anything to stay in their own house. Since the market is a little different, it's not as heavy of a seller's market, the agreement was to pay a certain amount to cover the new buyer's mortgage. And so that was a success story. Did sell in 11 days for their price of $1.4 million. Second story, working with some buyers who are out of state. They are relocation buyers. We work with a lot of people relocating from all over the place, and they were moving in. Anyways, they were out. They've explored the area. They figured out where they wanted to be, and we found them a place over in Carlsbad. And this place, it is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condominium. It was priced at $550,000. And unfortunately, our clients were not able to get out to the property to view the property, which we've done this for a lot of people in the past as well, is these virtual showings. So my partner Cassidy will hop in there, do a FaceTime with clients and show them all around. This one had tennis courts and a community center and all that kind of stuff. So showing all that around, it had, it's got a few parking spaces. It's got a little extra storage outside, getting them the whole visual on that. I go through with the GoPro, get them everything they need, check it out, kind of give a narrated tour through the entire property, outside, inside, everything in between. So they knew the area, they liked it, they decided to write an offer on this. There was some competition on this. The home ended up being on the market for 7 days, but it really was on the market for a lot less. There was some negotiating going back and forth. Our clients were able to lock it in at above list price. But when you're looking at the comparables or what had sold around there, the list price might have been a little bit low. So if you know Carlsbad at all, that price point is basically the entry level of what you're going to get in Carlsbad. So that price point, even though interest rates are elevated, there is still a lot of demand out there right now for those homes. Now, typically right now during this time, we're in the middle of September. In a traditional market that we see here in San Diego, we do kind of see a dip in the demand. People are going back to school, kids are in school. That's kind of the bulk of it, is everybody's going back to school. There's this little gap between the end of summer and actually going into the holidays where it does typically slow down a little bit. Now, years past, it hasn't, so it hasn't really followed that trend. So on this property, our clients had competition. There was 6 other offers in on the property. We got, it's called a seller multiple counter. So they send out counter offers to all parties, basically highest and best. They did have to waive their appraisal contingency, which is something you could talk about with your lender and see if that is a potential option. But we were able to keep all their inspections in. So we were able to get it inspected, make sure everything was working, and even negotiated a small credit for a few repairs around the house. Like I mentioned, they didn't need a rent back. So our clients were able to close and they are moving in a few weeks. And the third property is actually still an active property that we are representing the seller for right now. It's out in Vista. It is 0.59 acres, 1,800 plus square foot house, 3-bed, 2-bath. The seller recently put in some new flooring, some new countertops, new paint, did a few things, cleaned up the septic tank, got a few things repaired. It is on a lot of acreage. It has this nice long driveway around the back. And right when we came on the market, which was 50 days ago, we ran all the numbers, came up with a price the seller wanted to put it on at the market. And we did have that open house the first weekend, got once again all our marketing out, all that kind of stuff. I sat the open house and we had 15 groups through. During that first weekend too, it was a vacant house, so showings were pretty easy. We had a lot of people through and were able to see the house. So we know there was some interest out there. We know people were out and about and looking. And during those first few weeks, we were able to generate a few offers. However, nothing ended up working out. So we recently did have to do a price reduction. So now the price is $19,000 below where it was. Once again, we're hitting the marketing again. We're throwing all that out there. And it just goes to show you that right now, pricing is super important. Buyers out there are even more cognizant. I mean, they're always very aware of what their monthly payment is going to be. But with elevated interest rates and, like I said, kind of going into that season where it's a little bit slower, we're coming out of the school season, we're going into the second or the latter half of 2023, it does slow down a little bit. So taking all those into account when you are putting your home on the market. And like I said, I'll have a link for that one below if you guys are interested or have anybody looking in that Vista area who wants that big kind of, it's in the rural section of Vista, so it's spread out. You have some room between your neighbors. It's a pretty rad property, but I'll have that link below. You guys could go check that out. And the fourth boots on the ground story comes to us from the buyers we were working with who were kind of looking in that Scripps Ranch, Poway, Rancho Bernardo area. We were able to get them a house over in Poway and single family home. And where they've been searching and their price point kind of in that $800,000 to $900,000 range in those areas, even if it's a townhome or condo or single family home, has been super competitive. So this one was no different. Although it was initially priced pretty low, it was priced $749,000. But what we were able to get it at is very comparable to what else has sold within that community. So it sounds like the listing agent's strategy was to list it low, get a lot of demand in there, get a lot of offers for his seller to choose. And we were able to keep that communication line open to get our clients in there. They did have to waive their appraisal. We were able, once again, to keep our inspections in there. However, they also did accept the property as is. So that means do all your inspections, do everything you need. If there's anything major, it can be addressed, but you're agreeing to buy the property as is, which is typical in the contract anyways, but it was another layer saying, okay, let's proceed. We're going to buy the property as is. So the seller doesn't necessarily have to worry about any secondary negotiations with any sort of repairs or anything that might come up during inspections. And so on this property there, like I said, there were 12 offers. And this just goes to show you that no matter where you're looking, whether you're a buyer or a seller, it's going to be different, and your specific situation is going to be different than the next person's. So it's very important you guys can start that conversation early. I'm Chris Erickson with the Beach Life Group. If you guys got some questions, feel free to reach out. We got your back when making the move here in San Diego.